A beautiful lady smiled while applying makeup in her room. She was about to be with the love of her life and had never been happier. It was only a few hours now and she would bid this wretched house farewell. She heard the floorboards creak behind her, and as she turned, she saw the head of a bat coming straight for her face. Struggling to move abroad or advance your studies at a top university? Feeling lost or overwhelmed by the process? Let StudyGate Canada guide you. StudyGate Canada, created by my husband, a civil engineering master's graduate from the University of British Columbia, one of Canada's top universities, has already helped many others successfully move to Canada and the USA. Now it's your turn. This step-by-step course teaches you how to find scholarships, pick affordable schools, write winning application essays, and much more. It's one of the most complete guides to studying abroad in countries like Canada, the US, and Australia. And here's the best part. As a viewer, you get an exclusive 40% off with the code StudyGate40, plus free private mentorship after securing admission. Just click the link in the description to get started today. Big thanks to StudyGate Canada for sponsoring this segment. Don't miss this opportunity to make your study abroad dreams a reality. Tayo was a Lagos-based architect who had built a reputation for designing high-end homes for the city's elite. One day, he received an unusual request from a mysterious client, Mr. Kolade. He wanted Tayo to renovate an abandoned mansion on Banana Island, one of the most expensive neighborhoods in Nigeria. The house, Kolade explained, had been in his family for years but had fallen into disrepair after a tragedy. Tayo was intrigued. This could be his most prestigious project yet. When Tayo arrived at the site, he was stunned by the house's beauty. Though overgrown with vines and showing signs of neglect, it was grand, with arched windows, marble pillars, and a sprawling garden overlooking the water. But there was something off about the place, a heaviness in the air that made Tayo uneasy. The work began smoothly. Tayo assembled a team and they began clearing the debris and repairing the structure. But strange things started happening. Workers reported hearing whispers when they were alone. Tools went missing only to reappear in odd places. Unexplained accidents were also common as things got worse. One night, a foreman ran out of the house claiming to have seen a woman in white standing at the top of the grand staircase. Tayo dismissed the stories as superstitions. Old houses make noises. Accidents happen every time on big projects, he told his crew. Focus on the job. But he couldn't shake the feeling that the house was watching him. On more than one occasion, he thought he saw movement in his peripheral vision, only to find nothing there. One evening, Tayo decided to work late. The house was quiet and the soft hum of the generator provided a soothing background noise. As he reviewed the blueprints in the main hall, he heard a faint melody. It was a woman singing, a haunting, sorrowful tune. "Hello?" Tayo called, his voice echoing. The singing stopped abruptly, and silence enveloped the house. Tayo's heart raced, but he convinced himself it was his imagination. The next day, he asked Mr. Kolade about the house's history. "There are always stories about these old homes," Kolade said vaguely. "Focus on the renovation, Tayo. That's all I'm paying you for." Tayo couldn't let it go. He began digging into the house's past. What he found chilled him to the bone. The mansion had belonged to Kolade's father, Chief Ade Kolade, a wealthy businessman with a reputation for ruthlessness. 20 years ago, Chief Ade had been accused of killing his wife, Grace, after discovering her affair with a close friend. Grace's body was never found and the case remained unsolved. Shortly after, Chief Ade moved abroad, leaving the house to decay. Tayo's curiosity turned to obsession. He became determined to uncover the truth about Grace. His nightmares grew worse. He dreamt of a woman drowning in water, her hand reaching out to him. One night, while examining the blueprints, he noticed something strange. The design of the house suggested there was a hidden room behind the library wall. With a flashlight in hand, he searched for the entrance and found a concealed door. It creaked open, revealing a small damp space. Inside, he found a single item, a diary. It belonged to Grace. Her final entries described her fear for Chief Ade and her plans to escape with her lover. The last page was smeared with ink, but one line was clear. I can't wait to be with my Temi forever. Tayo was shaken. He reported his findings to Mr. Kolade, who dismissed him angrily. You were hired to renovate, not to play detective. In fact, you seem to have lost focus on what you are here for. So, I will help you help yourself. You are fired as the chief engineer and must never set foot on the property ever again. But Tayo couldn't ignore the clues. That night, he returned to the house with a friend, Femi, who worked in construction. Together, they investigated the basement, which had been sealed off years ago. They found an old wall hidden beneath a rotting wooden cover. The smell was foul and the air was thick. As they shone their flashlights inside, they saw something glinting at the bottom. Femi lowered the rope and retrieved it. A gold locket engraved with the initials GK, Grace Kolade. Terrified, Tayo reported the discovery to the police. An investigation revealed the skeletal remains at the bottom of the well. The police discovered that there were two sets of skeletons at the bottom of the well. One was missing a head, and both had been bleached and badly incinerated to the point where DNA testing wasn't possible. However, using dental records, the police were able to confirm that one of the skeletons did belong to Grace Kolade. Mr. Kolade must have killed her and her lover and disposed of their body in the well. Where could the male's head be? The news broke and Chief Ade Kolade was declared wanted. He had gone into hiding for decades now, and the police would have to pool all their resources to fish him out. Mr. Kolade was called in for questioning. He denied knowing anything about the secret room and revealed he hadn't heard from his father in a while. He also didn't want anything to do with him now, knowing the atrocities his dad committed. Months later, Tayo heads to Mr. Kolade's mansion upon his request. The maid ushers him to the living room where Mr. Kolade will join him shortly. Tayo looked around. The house was an engineering marvel. There was even a false wall which to the untrained eye would have gone unnoticed. It led to the study. Tayo was amazed and walked in. He noticed that Mr. Kolade must have been quite the athlete when he was younger. There was an entire shelf dedicated to sporting awards and trophies. Just then, Tayo heard a voice behind him say, "Are you impressed?" He turned and there was Mr. Kolade. "Yes, sir, I am." Mr. Kolade laughed, saying, "Thank you, but that was many years ago, when I was still young and fit. Now, Temi is no longer who he used to be." They both chuckled. "Temi?" Tayo asked. "Yes, it was my nickname back in university days," replied Mr. Kolade. "Back to business. I called you here to apologize for my behavior earlier. I didn't want to believe my father was capable of such horrors. Please forgive me, and let's move past that ugly incident. I want you to work for me on a much bigger project. So what do you say, Mr. Tayo?" "Mr. Tayo, are you with me?" Tayo was transfixed. He had heard that name before. Temi. But where? Then it flashed across his mind. Mrs. Grace's diary. Her lover's name. The lover was not Chief Ade's friend. It was Mr. Kolade himself. Tayo realized the horrifying truth. Mr. Kolade, not Chief Ade, had killed Grace to hide their affair. He had orchestrated everything to shift the blame to his father. That would mean the second skeleton. The second skeleton was not of any lover. It was that of Chief Adekolade. The justice Tayo thought he had uncovered was nothing but a carefully crafted lie. "You killed her," Tayo said. Mr. Kolade replied with a frown. "What are you talking about?" "You killed Grace. You were her lover." Then it happened. Mr. Kolade closed the gap between him and Tayo within a second. He hit Tayo so hard that he fell down unconscious.